Honest community, before we dive into this episode, we've got a quick free favour to ask. If you enjoy the Honest Property podcast, please hit like, follow and subscribe wherever you're listening from. It helps us grow, reach more people and bring on guests that you want to hear from. Thanks for being a part of this. We appreciate you more than you know.
Hello and welcome to the Honest Property Podcast. We're your hosts, Becky and Ruth, and we love talking all things about holistic entrepreneurship and being modern property investors primarily. And on this episode, we are so happy to introduce Maria.
Actually, it was my mother-in-law that gave me a gift voucher, which has led us here to this podcast. But Maria has founded a company called Healing Weeds, which is so important. I'm going to screw this up because you do such an amazing job in basically allowing modern people to reconnect to nature and how we're so far removed from it in modern life. We're so running around busy and not forgetting that we're part of this whole ecosystem. And you are someone who reminds people that we are completely connected to everything. I hope that was a good introduction.
Thank you.
So how did you even get started with just the love of plants?
I think, going on that intro, I think that is it. I think I realized my own disconnection with not really knowing what plants were. And I would be, as a kid, as a teenager, everyone spends time in parks and green spaces, but I never was really looking at any detail. It seemed like everything was a bit of a blur. And it was in my learning about the different plants. So I did a herbal medicine course and I started to be curious that the door, as it does with many things, the door just completely swung open. The very same places that I'd been looking at and thinking I had a lovely time in, and yes, nature was like a going outside and I'd had positive feelings there, but then seeing the detail just really drew me into how intricate it all is and how they kind of repeat themselves. So you see, it's not like you learn about one plant and that's the only time you see it everywhere. And it really just made me realize that I'd been blind my whole life. And so I'm sure that there are other people also who had this blurry vision as well. So that's kind of where it began. And it just kind of rolled from there, I would say, just because it's so endless, all the things you can learn. So I was just kind of on a train and became obsessed and just wanted to know more and more.
That's amazing. So we recently really got into it. I mean, because we were very eco-consciously aware. And then I think it was the Black Lives Matter movement all happened. And we just wanted to get in touch with our heritage quite a bit at that time. When we all kind of self-acceptance, identity acceptance and feeling
crisis. We went through a crisis.
Yeah. Part of that heritage included a lot of nature healing elements, and that really opened our eyes to how that was a big part of us feeling safe and belonging somewhere, because nature is literally everywhere, and that is where we felt the most tranquility, even though we couldn't put a name to things. But there was a lot of there's a thing in Filipino culture called hilot, and that was very much part of society, and it was the herbalist basically of the community.
A shaman,
and you just have all the wisdom and help heal people with that knowledge.
So I
guess you're kind of human version, modern day version of that.
So interesting. What did that feel like? Yes, hearing about that. Did it feel familiar? Was there something about it? I don't know. How did that make you feel learning about it? And how have you been able to?
We grew up with this. We have grown up with this where we'd put certain ointments on.
We didn't know why.
We didn't know why, but it was always part of our upbringing. We grew up with on the Filipino side always having these leaves or herbal. but
Both.
but here in the UK we felt very disconnected because the solution for everything was to pop a pill.
Like if I had eczema, I had to go to the doctor and get steroids. And
Yeah,
that just
there was
seems
no
so
other.
intense.
No, that's honestly eczema. Like I do hold on to as an example of this, like, because, you know, that exactly what you said. Like people are just given these very, very harsh chemicals that basically suppress the inflammation response. That's what steroids, one of their side effects, you know, how they work is that they suppress the inflammation response. So then it works on paper because you're not inflamed anymore. So they can say, yes, your eczema has gone, but has the thing that has caused the eczema gone? And what happens often is people stop using the steroids and the eczema can come back worse. Because actually, if it's, you know, and so in herbalism, what I'm learning is like how internal it is, like how the gut needs to be treated, the sort of soothing the mucous membranes of the skin, like kind of trying to just like be anti-inflammatory from the inside rather than just trying to like get this crazy chemical on your skin and almost like, yeah, burn it off. Like, do you know? Yeah.
Yeah, I would always go to traditional Chinese medicine a lot of the time for my healing, and it was just herbal remedies, but they were just put in pill form, and I felt like they soothed my skin so much better and had a longer lasting effect than just putting topical steroid.
It's like putting a band-aid on like and not addressing the problem, isn't it? It's like doing a lot of internal work. Like I'm a big advocate for things that are like Reiki and acupuncture and all of these other things that are, yes, that maybe they are slower, but it's about putting that time, I don't know how do you say it, like putting the time into those, I guess, slower healing options, like herbalism, instead of trying to put the band-aid on so quick, because then you're going to it's like you're constantly just trying to keep on covering.
I love a metaphor. It's like it's like no, I'm thinking it's kind of like having a leak in your like foundations of your house, and instead maybe you're just like, I'll just put a different carpet on the top.
Why are you bringing this back to property?
Yeah. See what I did there? And but you just put a different carpet on the top, and you're like, cool, okay, well that's work. No one will know. No, it doesn't. On paper, it looks like the floor's not sodden, but it just, you know, unless you keep relaying the carpet, which really isn't getting to the problem, you know, you're not actually going to solve the problem. Whereas I think that's why herbalism takes a longer time, is because you're actually trying to work out, okay, is there something that's inflamed in the body that's trying to get out through the skin, which can often be the case with eczema. We need to go in there first.
Yeah, because, you know, like you said with that metaphor, when you having to keep replacing the carpet, that can get really costly. So why don't you start by maybe just replacing that roof one time?
Turn off the tap. Yeah, or wherever, you know. But yeah, exactly. Like do the roof, do whatever it is. Like, yeah, it's which does take a little bit more work and patience. But like, if we've got to the point where the flooding is all the way along the floor, then we need to do quite a lot to undo it, you know. And that's But yeah, and I'd love to know more about your Filipino side and that healing. And were they like dried herbs? Were they like products? Like how did that work growing up?
Dried and in an ointment.
Like a balm? Is that like a balm?
Yeah, like that. Or like or if we were sick as well, then we'd rub this ointment on our feet and our back and our chest. And it was like to help the circulation when we were sick. And I just remember whenever I had a mosquito bite, my granddad would be like, he'd spit on it first, which was kind of spit on it, and then there was like a leaf. And I don't remember what the leaf was, but he'd cut make it a circular shape, and then cut a little circle around it, and then place it over where my I don't know,
was where the bite was.
Yeah, and then that was the treatment, and that was really normal.
Yeah,
so did you learn this as well from your upbringing? Because you're Spanish and
On both sides?
No, so my dad is Spanish, And my mum was born in London, but her parents are Irish. Yeah. So but I didn't learn from them. I think it's quite interesting, I think, because here in this country, it's just not spoken about. Like, my dad would have come here, and I guess maybe he didn't really pay attention to my nan, but he says now that I'm bringing it up, he's like, oh yeah, like, your nan used to do rosemary and sage tea when we were sick and all this stuff. I was like, oh, you never told me that. Like, I didn't know that.
It's like just past habits that are in the family.
I think because it's not valued here as a form of medicine, there's no reason why when we were sick that he would do that. It's weird. Like, it got broken. Like, so he didn't pass any of this to me.
What do you think interrupted this passing of knowledge?
I just think the culture here. So, I mean, the bottom line is, if we really think about it, you can't make money if you tell people that the herbs that they buy in the supermarket is good. You just can't make money. Like, if you tell them that it's out there, like, that's not how you do it. And this is not for me to say that there aren't some incredible medicines that are really life-saving and so essential for people's well-being and health at all. That's not what I'm saying. I think there is a drive to patent and monetize like active constituents in the plants. Like, you can't patent nettle because it's not new. It's not an invention. So you need to make something from it that then you can say, I made this.
Yeah.
And that's how you make money. So because of that drive that has been in the last 100 years of medicine, say, intensified, in more recent years, but because of that drive, then that becomes the culture, that becomes the norm. And then people don't really trust the propaganda to distrust herbal medicine is big. And so my dad, probably coming to this culture, probably didn't say that's what he used to do, because it's kind of embarrassing and seen as like quite primitive and not the best way. That's definitely how I grew up. I definitely thought herbal medicine was just the weaker version and we shouldn't trust it and we've got better options.
I think we always question, like in my head, I've always questioned it, but I've always gone the route of, if I can't solve it with nature first, then I'll seek Western medicine.
That's amazing.
I was thinking, well, our mums always taught us as well. It's like literally,
she's afraid of the Western
she's like, there's a problem, ginger will sort it out.
Yeah, have some turmeric.
Have them do it. But like,
she's so great.
You just making me come back to something that I saw on social media, and it was to do with Ayurvedic medicine. And that's like an ancient form of a lot of different herbs. And they got a lot of hate online for recommending Ayurvedic medicine, like Ayurvedic treatments, and saying, well, where's the science backing that? Like, how can you prove like any of that? It's like, whoa, why does everything...
Years of evidence would tell you that, why would we bang our heads against the wall? If it doesn't work, why would you pass it on?
Yeah, exactly. And if you, like you were saying before, if you can't make money out of it, if there's no way to make money out of it, do you think that maybe like somewhere down the line, someone's gone, shush, like you cannot speak, because if there's no money coming out of this, then you cannot spread this. But this is like such ancient wisdom that we do need to pass down, because instead of just relying on like the big farmers.
Totally. I think that is the case. That is what's happening. I think that what did happen is, I think I did look this up, and from what I can remember, what's his name? Rothschild? Someone like this. America's first billionaire realized that you can make pharmaceutical medicine, petrol and plastic out of oil. And so he wanted to be like the big oil guru. So he instructed lots of people around America to go around and go to lots of holistic clinics, or clinics that were using both pharmaceutical medicines and holistic treatment, like eat well, sleep well, even things like that. When does the doctor ever ask you, are you sleeping?
They don't.
No, they don't.
What are you eating? Are you stressed right now? It's like, oh, you're feeling low. Okay, here you go. Like, not like nothing else. And so but this guy anyway, who he shut down like maybe 50% or something of those clinics in the USA. So then like it just got pushed. So it was very intentional. This has all been incredibly intentional. Not to sound like too directed, but as in by a few people, and then the repercussions just outroll and it becomes culture, and then sort of we're all taking part in it. Like,
and you don't realize it's happened.
No. No, because we put a lot of trust in the doctors, and like, and they do know a lot, but what they're not taught about is natural healing. They're not taught that ginger, or that, you know, is a great circulatory stimulant. That's why it's good for when you're sick, because it just makes all of your blood move a little bit faster, which is going to help everything on its way. That's why it's good. It's, you know, antiviral as well. But you've then got like turmeric, incredibly anti-inflammatory, incredibly so, you know. And so again, that's going to help as an addition, like that. But those are things that people have in their cupboard. Why is it not okay to tell people that?
This is why we appreciate you so much, because there is such a gap in education, as well as what we're trying to help people understand. Investing and like natural healing, those are two massive gaps.
But also, it doesn't need to be complicated. Like, sometimes we put so many obstacles to make it so unrealistic to achieve, like health, or just like well-being, or even just like investing for the future.
Just
But
financial knowledge. Like,
financial
why don't
knowledge.
people know? Why don't we taught this at school? Or
Because they don't want us to know this stuff.
Before we continue, here's a quick thought. Ever feel like there's just never enough time to focus on what really matters in your business? You don't have to do it all alone. As they say, a great team makes everything easier. That's why we've partnered with the Freedom Geek. Their talented Filipino VAs help us with tasks like admin and podcast editing, just like for this episode, giving us the freedom to focus on what really moves the needle. If you're looking to reclaim your time and to work smarter, then check out the Freedom Geek. All the details are in the show notes. Now let's get back to our conversation.
No, because they want you to rely on somebody else, or to maybe like the majority of people not get there. They want to save, you know, with property, I can imagine, like the investment world, and like it's beneficial for some people if the vast majority like aren't clued up, because otherwise then everyone could do it. And that's like, well, yeah, that's the thing, right? Everyone should have access to the knowledge.
And one beautiful thing that you do, like a lot of people think, oh, you need like an exotic ingredient, like, I don't know, what's an example?
Well, turmeric doesn't grow here.
Yeah, that is one, yeah.
What you do, and we absolutely have loved every time we've walked with you, is Maria basically goes on walks, on
Foraging
walks, but she goes in locations that are local in England where you just don't think there would be anything to find. But she just shows us so much outside here in the UK and in unlikely places. Like, I remember the first one I did with you was in a cemetery, and I would never have thought to go there.
Yeah.
I was like, this is brilliant. Like, how do I not, like, I know about, we're familiar with what our mums shared with us, but our dad did not have that knowledge, and you were bringing that to light. Like grass water, what? I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah. I know. It is that's, but I think that's what I felt when my eyes were open as well. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, what do you mean it's just here? What, like, are you joking? I was like, I just walked out the house, and like, you're surrounded by plantain, you know, that would be the equivalent of this bug bite leaf for you, right? And then dandelions, and then learning about dandelions, that I know what they are. That wasn't a new thing to me, but seeing how like powerful they are for the body, all the different parts of it was, and then you almost notice them more, and you're like, this has just been like, I've literally stepped on them so many times, and how disrespectful of me, like how stupid, I'm going and paying all this money for this, like, because I know we've got the free NHS, but you still got to pick up a prescription.
I was
like,
going to say time it takes to get seen.
Yeah, I want to say as well, like, do you think there's something in our brain here? I mean, because we are in the UK, this podcast we're talking in the UK, that we are so reliant on imports of everything that's like part of our culture, because we have taken from lots of different countries. This has just come up into my mind right now. That
no,
like,
that's a good point.
trust what we have here.
It's true, you know, like, and because what I found quite interesting, like learning, is like there's a plant called wood avens, which I wonder if we saw on any of the walks we've been on, but I feel like we might have. But it's like grows from this center point, and like has these leaves that grow out from the center. It kind of like stays on the ground. It's part of the rose family, and its roots have the same compound as cloves. So you know that like that smell of cloves, and you know that's like good for your teeth. It's a pain reliever for teeth, and it's like very anti-inflammatory. That same compound is in Woodhaven. So I think then there have been more, let's say, potent varieties growing in like more tropical climates that then we've just introduced and kind of forgotten that we had stuff here that we were using before that. You know, like there's another plant called Alexander's that has almost black peppercorn tasting seeds and stuff. So, you know, we've had these flavors like, and then, yeah, I reckon that during colonization eras when people were going to different places and stealing plants and bringing them back, and they just would have been, and I guess there was that sort of colonial pride in the invasion element of it. It was like, we've taken this.
Look what I've got. This is
my
more,
garden.
Yeah,
Exactly. So yeah, I think you're right. I think that probably did happen.
I think as well, like just reflecting on the really windy walk we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Ruth and I do this every single day, and you've made this your job, and I love that. We also did make it our job. We had a pet care business so that we were outside every day
on purpose, because we knew the benefits of like our best ideas for business came from going on our dog walks. We were animals, we were out in nature. It was like the best time of our life. And then we know how much like being outdoors, especially like how we work, like everyone works now, is just so inside with recycled air, like on your laptop, and there's no room to just have space to go out and to the fresh air and just be around, like hug a tree.
I know. Yeah, it's definitely changed, hasn't it? All of our habits, but it is quite amazing how. Say again. I think I was thinking it's such an antidote, right? Like being outside is just such a antidote. But yeah, I mean, I will say as well, I find it hard to like draw myself out sometimes, you know, when you're feeling really like, it can be hard to be like, okay, no, go outside. And then as soon as you do,
Forget
it's
it.
like, okay, yeah.
Yeah. I feel sick. Like I had to adjust because we sold that business, and then we moved to basically we did
Cried
get
heavily.
outside.
Cried
so
heavily.
much, and I felt sick not going outside.
Yeah.
All the times that I had to drag myself outside to do that job, it was like, yeah, it made me feel almost unwell being inside.
How do you find it now? Do you make regular time to go out?
Get a dog and make you go outside.
That is what people say, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, he's great, and he makes us go outside 3
The
times a day.
the best investment you'll ever make.
A collie will
Yeah,
make you
collie.
go outside.
Oh my God, you'll be up for ages. You even play some games. Yeah.
Yeah, but it does wonders for your mental health, and I think that's becoming more and more acknowledged and understood, and more people are trying to get. They just say like 10,000 steps, but I'm like, I don't care if it's really 10,000 steps. Just go outside.
Yeah, but even with what you do with your foraging, just like I remember the first walk I went on with you, and I remember coming back home and just I could not stop.
She exploded on me. She was like,
I was like so happy, and then I went down a rabbit hole and was like investigating absolutely everything, but like Mum was right. Like,
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, it's so true. I mean, that is genuinely like the reason why I do like just feel like I just want to give people that space to like see what I saw, like, and what you see, because once you see it, like, you just can't unsee it, like. And I don't know, there's so many repercussions for the person and for the world, I think, if more people are aware of it. Like, you can, even if it's as simple as you don't even like take any like physical action, you never touch a plant for the rest, like, again, you never do it, but every time you look at a plant, you might recognize it, and it might make you feel, oh, okay, well, so like if I need it, it's there. I don't need to touch it, but at least I know that is there. And there's a few different, okay, like, don't know, that's something that reassures me.
if there wasn't another apocalypse, there was like another world shut down. Like, and like the food delivery guys ain't going to Lidl or Asda or wherever you shop. Waitrose, I'm not sure. Wherever you go.
But like,
There's
oh,
something else.
I mean, like, I'm sick. I really want a drink. Oh, let me just pull out this dandelion that's in the crack of this brick, and pull out the root.
Yeah, I've made myself a little coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my! I mean, we have obviously been massively advocating Maria healing weeds because we truly loved it, and you need to go on these walks because your eyes will be opened so much. And I think
It's an education that not many of us have. That is so. It's so important. It really
makes you feel really ignorant at the time. You're like,
Yeah.
what the hell?
But it also makes you feel closer to your ancestors. Like, from a spiritual point, it does make you feel like you're closer to your ancestors and going, wish this knowledge was passed down, and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that if you have kids or if you know kids, to give that wisdom and pass it down, because like that makes us feel like human and not just robots.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's also it. I get what you mean about this connecting thing, like, and even just like ancestors that aren't like your bloodline, right? Like, but like, so I'm not, my heritage, who knows, maybe far off ancestors were, but my immediate heritage is not here. But even to like learn about these plants and realize that actually these are the same plants that if you look in a really old herbal, that they're like, you know, this plant doth cure the bit of an adder or something, you know, or like the boils, if you put something on it, it will cure your boils or something. All these things that we don't really have now. Like when's the last time anyone was worried about an adder, a snake bite in the UK, right? It's not really common. But the fact is that those same old herbals, they're talking about plants that are like here. So it just is this like quite a nice connection to, oh, right, they're still here.
Yeah.
These plants are still here. Hops growing wild along the Avon River, for example. It's like, that's like literally what they would have first made beer from, or like, and it's just still here. It's not some far away plant that's hard to get. Like you could literally do it if you wanted.
And with just on touching on the topic of feeling like, you know, Ruth and I mentioned we had an identity crisis, and technically I guess you're a third culture kid because you're not English.
Yeah.
But it's like this ancient wisdom that maybe we're taking it from somewhere else and bringing it here that was already here. But like every culture has its own version of it, like you're saying. And that is a beautiful way of making you feel united and like you
Included.
belong. And this is wisdom for everybody in our own versions.
Yeah, it's true. Like one of the first sort of courses, I did a few courses as I was like learning, and this one course was an overview. I think it was like a 6-week course, and each week was a very short introduction and overview of all the 5 main practices of medicine around the world. And I just was, you know, just realized, just because it was right in my face there, like, okay, so every single one of these is so ancient. Every single one of these practices that we're learning about goes back thousands and thousands of years. And it just felt very connecting, like, oh, like humans have been doing this for ages. Like this is actually, yeah, something quite encouraging, and feels like you can relate to people not from the same place, because we all have, yeah, it's interesting that the counteraction of that is this bizarre modern world we've created where we're separate from that. Like, yeah.
And when you walk together as well outside, like it's such a bonding experience. I'm bringing it back to dogs again, but like even with like psychology, because we're animals as well. We're pack animals. We thrive in social environments.
We always found when we were walking with, say, it was one dog, that maybe they might not listen so well, but if you're walking with a pack of dogs,
They move
you will
together.
move as a herd together, and they listen better because you're all in like that same movement. And it was so amazing to be able to see and be like leader of the pack.
But humans do the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's so lovely walking with people outside, isn't it? I think there's loads of, you know, new research, new organizations like using that, and, you know, the kind of artificial way, I guess, of some therapeutic scenarios where you're inside and then people are seeing actually to bring that conversation outside. Like it's obviously not as contained. It's a bit more unpredictable in certain ways, but it's like it gives people more space to kind of speak. And yeah, it's a really beautiful thing to be outside with people and all being curious together, like, and just having a bit of a play, and yeah, sort of having the physical space to do that is really good.
Yeah. Yeah, because how I wanted to ask as well. So how can like normal people, like we're all normal. How can modern day, yeah,
Fun.
yeah, modern day people make their homes, like their spaces, if they have a garden or don't even have a garden as well. Like I used to have an allotment. Don't have time now because now I give it to my father-in-law because I have a child. But how can just modern day people be able to make small changes to be able to benefit from nature, whether it's like herbalism, or just getting the benefits of just being more in tune with nature, like in everyday life?
I mean, like, I would say the very first thing is...
Hey guys, if you're new to property investing, we know exactly how hard it is to figure out where to start. That's why we created the Beginner's Roadmap. It's your guide to mastering the fundamentals so that you can move forward with clarity and confidence. Plus, you'll gain access to our free community for ongoing support. Just hit the link in the show notes. Now, let's jump back into this episode.
When we like are in a group and we're foraging, for example, like it's kind of acceptable for us as a group to stop and look at something, but it can be a little bit difficult if you're by yourself. And if you wanted to take a moment to just like look at something a bit more, because it's caught your eye for whatever reason, it can be a little bit socially anxious, you know, like it can make you feel socially anxious to like stop and bend down and like touch some random leaf, like you don't know, right? So I do think there has to be a little bit of like, it's okay if I just want to stop and like look at the shape of this, or maybe I'll take a leaf and I'll walk with it and I'll see, you know. But just to encourage it would be, yeah, to encourage people to start interacting a little bit with what's around you, like seeing, even if you don't know what something is, but like what's the pattern, like look at one of these leaves as you go on a walk and see if you notice it again and again, or not, see if it's like a rare one. But just to, yeah, I guess like encourage a bit of curiosity when you're next on a walk, if you are somebody who goes outside for that reason. And then if you're not, to, yeah, like give it a go. Just see if you can take one walk, choose a sunny day, like ease yourself in, choose a sunny day, and just take a bit of time to really like look at your nearest green space, even if it's just walking up the street and seeing what's growing through the cracks, like just to kind of slow down and take in some different shapes, if that's like not a really random and vague thing to suggest. But I do think that is really interesting, going from where you live, like wherever that is, what's around you. I would then say like, see if there are some herbal teas that you might like, and Google what the plants do, like seeing if that your knowledge of what it might do for you might change your enjoyment of it. Like with the ginger and the turmeric, yeah, I like the tastes of them, but I also am drinking it because I know that what it's going to do. So it helps me like want to drink something if I know a bit more about it.
Knowledge is power, isn't it?
Knowledge is power. I guess to bottom line it actually is, yeah, is just to like rip off this like blindfold that we've been given, and trust that there are things out there for you, and a lot of it is free, like, and really easy. Like it's a tea, it's you know, just to try out, see if it feels good for you. And yeah, just, I don't know, stay curious. That's what I would say.
I was going to say that actually, but you beat me to it. It's like being curious and playful, isn't it? It's like when you are noticing, when you slow down, like we were saying before, we're in such a busy, we're always like looking for the next thing. But when you slow down, it's like a mindful practice, isn't it? Where you are taking the time to notice each, it's like what do you call it? Like, it's like a awake meditation. I remember being on a walk with dogs one time, and if you don't know how to notice these things, it's not natural for you to, I personally would recommend as well, like if you plug in like a walking meditation. You can find these on like Spotify or Apple Music. Is that what it's called? Apple Music. And it will guide you onto what to look
It
for.
tells you to notice things and it
Yeah.
helps you practice it. Yeah, that's really good, actually.
Yeah, because
Headspace does that as well.
oh, Headspace.
Yeah. I've heard of that one actually. Yeah. That's good. That's really
If
good.
you get more and more into it, then you'll start to really use your own intuition of noticing, oh, well, look at all these veins on this plant, or like you just, oh, I can smell this. But if you're not used to, because you're rushing around and you're just not used to slowing down, like those could be the first steps that you can do to help train yourself into that mental state.
Totally. Yeah. Because it does require like that slowing down, like what you say. Like it's really difficult to just like really quickly glance past and be like, okay, I've seen it. I know what that is. Like, it does take that slowing down. So that's really nice. And I guess like maybe even finding a friend who wants to do it as well could be good as well. You could go together and like be like, oh, let's notice this, and some sort of support and guidance I think is good. Yeah.
I think there's just because we are so on the flip side of not knowing very much about what's out there in nature, in our own localities, there is so much enjoyment and free joy basically to be found that is all encompassing, like healing in so many ways. It makes you take a step out of your modern working life as an entrepreneur, business owner, investor, whatever you are. And you then start to learn how to appreciate all the free things that goes against maybe all the things you might see on social media and all the marketing, all the adverts you see online.
We always say wealthy looks different on everyone, and it's true. And like true wealthy for us is having the time, is going outside, able to slow down. Like we're not doing it because we want like a Lamborghini. We're doing what we do because it helps. We care about our parents as they get older. We want to be able to look after our families, and we want to be able to feel more connected to a peaceful earth.
Yeah.
Like not everything is about, I mean, there's nothing wrong if you like nice stuff, but I think we're just so mindful of if you for us, the reason why we invest is so that it allows us to slow down, to be able to notice these things, to be able to feel like we're really present in the day to day of enjoyment of the things that don't cost money,
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And then when you are outside and you've got that space and time, I think, yeah, carving out, having that space where you can feel that is my experience of wealth as well. Yeah.
Got like a dream job.
I tell you what, when it's rainy and it's like lashing it down, these days I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna pick the not so heavy days. In days gone by, like we would be out there in all weathers and like yeah, no, it's good. It is
I
good.
did a lot of rainy walks, and I love it. For us, when we were walking dogs, the best times were when it was raining
The
heavily.
house was out.
So you got to enjoy it, and the dogs are all wet, having fun, and like so. I'm very like pro rain.
I love that. I think it's funny, like having to like wanting everybody to feel comfortable in there, and I love it because on the days where we'd go ahead, I'd give people the option, like, look, if you don't want to come, like, totally understand, but we're going to go ahead anyway. Then the people that came, it was amazing because they were like ready for it. Like they were like, yeah, we're going in the rain, let's do it. Yeah, no, it is. I feel very lucky that I get to be outside in all the elements, and I get to say hey to the plants as well and get to know them a little bit more. And people often share memories and things that they've heard or things that has been passed down to them. So it becomes this like collective knowledge sharing thing about what we're looking at. And yeah, so I do feel very lucky to be able to like listen to people and that people are sharing their knowledge with me as well. Like, yeah, it's really beautiful.
You've completely created a space where everyone, like you said, can pull all their knowledge together and share that and pass it on to each other. Yeah, because I remember I've learned so much, not just from you, but also from other people who are on the same walk that like I may have never walked paths with. And I think that's so beautiful. Like you're bringing people together that may
seeking the same knowledge.
Exactly.
And I love how you also talk about getting familiar with shapes, because like they all, like if you look at a leaf, it's not just one leaf shape. There are all so many different shapes. And we know that that can have such a positive, looking at these irregular shapes or like just natural shapes, they have such a positive impact on the brain. And from like a property investing standpoint, Ruth and I have always subconsciously incorporated natural
nature,
shapes into our refurbs, into our decorating. There's always been some sort of nature inspiration, whether it's like, I mean, I'm looking around now at my own decor.
I like wooden textures, curvy shapes, like it's so nice. I mean, that's a really beautiful way to invite things into your home is like that. And even houseplants, I know a lot of people struggle with keeping houseplants alive, and they can be difficult, but there are some really easy houseplants that you can buy, spider plants or things, and ways, I guess, like you say, to incorporate that.
Yeah, and from a personal perspective, if you work from home, this can just, it's just I saw this, there was like a study, and it was like there was a hospital, and there were two hospitals, and one hospital had like a window and a plant in the room, and the other hospital didn't have anything in the room. And like the recovery rate of the patients in the hospital that had like a window and a plant in it,
or that they
was
could see
way
a tree outside.
Yeah.
Working from home, it's really important to build these natural shapes and textures into your environment. And not just that, if you're renting to somebody, consider it for them too. Because if they're happy and their well-being is, you've helped make it better than if it was just like a concrete.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Then like everyone wins. Like they'll want to stay there longer because they've got maybe access to a green garden, or they're near a
Stress down and like.
Exactly. And I think I just wish that by having conversations like this needs to be discussed more, because we are just in a world where we're becoming more and more far removed. I mean, maybe I'm in an echo chamber and I see more of everyone gravitating. They are like desperate to connect with nature. And like the first thing you can do is go foraging if you can. Yeah. It's quite a simple thing to step outside your door and just like look at a plant or feel a plant if you don't want to pick it. Like it's such a simple thing.
Download an app where you can like scan the plant and like see if it can guess what it is. Maybe that's like,
I mean, I have been thinking, like that would be really cool to have some sort of like learning thing that would do that.
Me to make Maria.
Like going digital. But it's true, like something to connect people. And I think that's what I do love about this is there's so much out there that I've done in the past that has been still very observational, and like going out and like looking at the nature reserve and going out and like kind of, I don't know if it's me being afraid of that, if I touch something it's going to be like gross or I'm going to get sick, or like, this kind of fear-based mentality, like just stick on the path, don't touch anything. Like that's how I felt in nature, like not totally, but I would say broadly, yes. And that's how a lot of people around me was growing up. But foraging just gives you this permission to directly interact with what you're looking at, and this exchange happens. And so in the fact that you realizing that the plant is giving you something, as nice when somebody gives you a gift, or you kind of you're really grateful and you want to give that back. And so I don't know, I just feel like on a subconscious level it just helps us relate better to being out to things outside, and rather than being really scared of stuff. And usually, say for example, I mean, rosemary is a funny example because it was brought over here, but the idea that rosemary would be like something that's dirty that you shouldn't touch it. Rosemary is like covered in this antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal essential oil, which is what we smell. That's That's what that oil does. So the fact that you'd be touching it, you're actually helping. You know, a lot of these plants, they're so healing that you touching them is not a bad thing. Obviously, like given contaminants aside and depending on where you are, of course, but more often than not, like actually touching these things is good.
Yeah, because we're in such a clinical, I always think we're all in such a clinical world that unless it's like perfectly packaged and like pristine, like that's the only thing that you can trust. But I really firmly believe in getting dirty and because then you really feel like, I think nature just brings you back to being a kid where if like I was saying before, where everything is like perfectly packaged, it feels so serious. It's so serious, but being around in nature and being able to be curious and touch stuff really brings out your child self. And like we need more of that in a world that's so can be profit over people and can be just so focused on not like living in the present and being when you're a child, you live so presently. And this is the reason why we love being around dogs, because they literally live for the moment. And
Just playing. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? And I guess just like to back that up, and my housemate was sharing the other day that you can't be playing and in your sympathetic stress response, like your fight or flight, like the systems work opposite. So if you're playing, like this is to do with, you know, supporting children through play therapy and or just allowing them space to be free, is that it cuts off that fight or flight. So it's quite interesting to then
interesting.
create those places where you can do that yourself or for other people. Yeah, so we can start chilling out our fight or flight response, just being feeling more grounded. But yeah, hopefully those things sound like it's accessible to people.
I mean, it makes complete sense. Like it just makes complete sense. So to wrap up this episode, we have started asking a new question.
I'm shocking. Questions. Open questions really throw me, but let's go.
What is a sentence? You've got to complete the sentence.
Okay.
It can be to do with anything in what you do in your life, your business, just anything. But if you can complete this sentence, it's honestly the best lesson I've learnt is
to trust yourself and your curiosity for things. Yeah, your gut feeling. Just learn to trust that.
Amen.
Amen.
Yes. I love that. I think we neglected that admittedly ourselves last year and have really stepped into making sure our and I feel like this is, I've mentioned it a couple times now previously in previous podcasts, but it's our feminine superpower. We have an intuition and we need to follow that because that's our nature's gift.
Yeah, honestly, getting in touch with that sense, I think is something that we've really encouraged all of us to not listen to. So yeah, totally agree with you. I'm really happy to hear that you're stepping in what feels good.
Well, thank you so much for making this space for everybody just to get back in touch with nature and all the positive effects that has.
I will always be a big advocate for anyone getting outdoors if you can, or just stare at a plant. Look at a plant on your phone. If you can't even get outside or get one,
You know what? I will say actually on that, like staring at a plant, you know, you mentioned that study. Yeah. So that study, they even did it with a picture.
I know this actually. Yeah.
And the same, it was still better than none. So even literally having like a picture was helpful for the nervous system. Can you believe that? On that same,
That's how powerful nature is.
Get outside, get your walk in, look at a plant, take some pictures and then get home.
Yeah, that's great.
Wonderful.
So where can our listeners find you, Maria?
So my website is healingweeds.co.uk. And please follow on Instagram as well, healing.weeds. I am always here to answer any questions. And that's where you'll find me.
Yeah. Oh, we just on top of that, Maria did a guided walk for one of our first ever networking in nature events for property investors. So if you're looking to create a really unique and wholesome event, go to Maria, because that was a great day.
It was a great day, and we had a lot of great feedback from everyone that came who said that they really needed it, and that's a huge sign.
Yeah.
It is. It's just that space, and that's what I do hope to create. Like it's actually not about me. It's about how, like, what are people's experiences when they're outside. Like that's what I love to create.
That's why we love you.
And I loved that day as well. Yeah. But yeah, definitely to just echo that, like even if you wanted to explore like your local green space with your neighbors or anything, like it's all there all the time, everywhere, in every season. So if you can support and guide, then great, but go ahead yourself, I hope too. Yeah, enjoy.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you so much. We'll see you on another.
Bye. Bye. Thanks.